All right, shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all being in the live, man. Feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media. Feud Big Q representing the mighty Who Dat Nation. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show for all prop bets. Get in FanDuel, man, and get your money, man. Anyway, in this one, fam, we're talking about predicting the Saints primetime games for 2026. Shout out to Canal Street Chronicles. Much love. Appreciate Tina and the rest of the staff out there putting out great work as usual. So they are embarking upon predicting some of the primetime games for the upcoming season. Now, we do realize that the Saints are, they do have some games coming up here. As you can see, the 2026 opponents right here, who we play, who we'll face, tough road ahead, time to respond. Saints listed as having the second easiest schedule in the NFL coming up compared to last year's records. Saints are predicted to be second easiest behind the Cleveland Browns. So that's an interesting sticking point. So as you can see right here, as the team has, as you can see some of the listings here, that the team has is home games against, of course, the Bucks and Falcons and Panthers, but also the Packers come to town. Good to see them finally come here as opposed to us go there. Same with the Vikings, the Arizona Cardinals, the Browns come here as well as the Steelers. So a lot of these teams like the Packers, the Browns, Steelers, cold weather climates there. They're coming here to the Dome. Our away games is, of course, Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, going up to Chi-Town. We got to figure out when that's going to happen. We have Detroit there in the Dome. We got to go to the cold with the Giants, Bengals, and Ravens, all cold weather games. Depending on where they fall in the schedule, you're going to need a running attack. But nonetheless, let's kind of get into what they're saying in terms of what this is looking like. Now, Canal Street Chronicles predicting the Saints primetime games for the 2026 season, making your prediction on how many games the Saints will be featured in primetime action this season. So the Saints did not earn a primetime game during the 25 season. Disappointing or not surprising, the Saints were coming off a 5-12 record, had questions at the quarterback, but just one season out, the Saints potentially found their quarterback in Tyler Shough, and head coach Kellen Moore is building a powerful, remember I call them the fast and furious Saints. That's what I call them, because there's speed all over the place. After a strong end to the 25 season, seeing the Saints and Shough win 4 of the last 5 games, the New Orleans Saints entered the offseason with a plan. They made 2 splash moves in free agency window, running back Travis Etienne and guard David Edwards. They weren't done adding firepower, however, drafting Jordan Tyson with the 8th overall pick and plenty more offensive weapons as well. After ending the 25 season on the high note with a rising star at quarterback and a revamped offense, the Saints should fare better when it comes to primetime games in 2026. And this is a few predictions he's going to make in terms of that. But what's really compelling and interesting from a Saints standpoint is the fact that we do have what your Saints is going to look like for pretty much what it is, right? We do understand that the New Orleans Saints, what they did, and this will pretty much be the team that you take into the 26-27 NFL season. Is it good enough for him to really break this thing open, so to speak? But nonetheless, let's kind of cover what he has to say about some of the primetime action. Here's his predictions. The Saints versus the Browns. That'll be an international game in Paris. Not everyone considers the international games as primetime, considering their usual taking place at 8 o'clock in the morning. But nonetheless, the Saints have already been confirmed to host an international game during the 26th season in Paris. So that'll be interesting, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson. The Saints all have a good history of taking care of business against the Cleveland Browns. And we got to get up early for that one, family. But hey, man, I'm cool with that. While the opponent has yet to be revealed, it has been heavily rumored to be Shedeur Sanders and the Browns, making for an exciting showdown between 2 second-year quarterbacks. I'm thinking it probably will be the Browns. I said it, just a moment ago. I'm thinking it's the Browns. We'll see. But it makes too much sense for the Saints to host the Paris game. From New Orleans' rich French Quarter culture to growing European Saints family base, the Black and Gold are primed to expand their global reach, even with a matchup featuring two of the worst teams in the NFL last season. Now, Shedeur Sanders' name holds a lot of weight, and the Saints will get to feature their new offense in front of a crowd of 80,000 screaming people. While not an overly exciting matchup, the first NFL game in Paris is certainly something to tune in to. So there we go. An international game versus the Browns in week number 7. That's his prediction on that. And like I said, I'm cool. I'm so cool with this sort of thing, having the Browns and playing the Browns and, in an international series is pretty cool. Let's see what the rest of the call is as well. And he has the next prediction is he's showing you the New Orleans Saints rather versus the New York Giants is Monday Night Football. Every year in the NFL, when franchise select quarterbacks in the draft, they say the supporters are eager to argue online that their team's quarterback is better than the other one. This has been the case with the Saints and the Giants. In pointless argument, each franchise has vouched for its second-year passer, comparing stats, starts, and wins. So Jackson Dart versus Tyler Shough is interesting. While this debate means little, since these teams aren't divisional rivals, it does make for good football. Each quarterback is eager to prove their team right, and the fans can't wait for the bragging rights. Not to mention, it's not a bad idea for the NFL to put two of the league's up-and-coming passers on primetime television. Neither the Saints nor the Giants were that good last season. The Saints finished 6-11. New York pulled away with a messy 4 wins. Despite this, each team drastically improved during the offseason, expected to take positive steps forward. With each team trotting out rising stars at the quarterback position and revamped offense, it should be a high-powered offensive game promoting the next generation of quarterbacks, and I bet it'll be on Monday Night Football. So his prediction will be Monday Night Football versus the Giants, and that'll be week 14. That's his prediction. Not bad. So this would be awesome. Now, y'all remember we did beat the Giants. Really, the Giants beat themselves. They imploded. They were fumbling, stumbling, bumbling. They just fell apart in that game against the Saints. We were all able to get the win. But having Jackson Dart, who's a guy that can run and pass, and Tyler Shough to do the same thing, battling each other, it's definitely a must-see TV, having those two guys, those gifted passers going at one another. That'll be a cool matchup. All right, and then, of course, the final call right here by the writer is that New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers on Thursday Night Football. The final prediction of the Saints primetime games will be a must-win Thursday Night Football matchup. While he thinks that many of the fans aren't too thrilled with the Thursday Night Football games, the NFL loves to schedule them, usually centering around divisional matchups. Specifically, the NFL loves scheduling them when they mean something. For the Saints and Panthers, that's likely a late season showdown that could determine the division. While making a list, I won't back and forth if this should be Carolina or Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I ultimately gave the matchup to the 8-9 divisional champs. The NFC South is weak, and every team in the division thinks they're the best team in it. So truthfully, this is the matchup I think most likely to win. I'm not sure it'll make good football coming off a short week with 2 lackluster teams in 25, but the game's significance probably outweighs how good the game will be. So it's prediction Thursday Night Football, Carolina Panthers in week number 16, late in the game. So like I said, we have yet to determine, because it's not until Thursday that we'll see if any of these stuff will occur. We'll see exactly where the schedule is pending and where some of these games will be. We know who we'll play. We just don't know when, which week, and Thursday, as Thursday close comes, we'll have all of the direct information on who plays what, when, and where. So interesting schedule. It's like I said, Saints picking up on some tremendous talent right here. Like I said, at the end of the rookie mini camp, now we can kind of span out and look at the Saints team, right? Let's take a look at the black and gold, man, with some of the stuff that we've seen at this point thus far. Here's the schedule right here, the unofficial depth chart provided by ESPN. Tyler Shough. In this first tier are starters, right? So we see the Shough-inator at the quarterback position. The Saints did sign Travis Etienne to be the featured back RB1. Elvin will be RB2 if anything else Changes: Ty Chandler, Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, and others at the running back position. Very deep room. Wide receivers: Chris Olave, the 8th overall pick, Jordan Tyson, and Devon Vele are going to be a top 3 look. You can look at them and see guys like Bryce Lance and Barryon Brown, a part of the 4, maybe the 5, maybe, 5 wide receivers. I'm thinking they'll keep 5, maybe 6. We'll see what that is. But I do like the fact that the Saints have that talent, man, and the speed in that wide receiver room to really kind of balance things. Juwan Johnson, Noah Fant, Oscar Delp. You can see Matavo's here too. This is also a stellar group of tight ends. Saints perhaps keep 3 tight ends there for that 3 tight end look we've seen about, and they've improved everywhere. They've added 3 wide receivers to the wide receiver room this year, through the tree in the draft. They brought in through free agency a number 1 RB1 running back that can do similar things. The Alvin Kamara, run inside, outside, catch the ball out the backfield, can block as well. They've done wonderful there. Ty Chandler also adds to it. The tight ends, we talked about them adding Oscar Delp there. With Noah Fant, they signed in free agency as well to impact the room, adding 2 key guys there. And then from the offensive standpoint, they got the best offensive guard in free agency, getting David Edwards, the former Buffalo Bill, here to play for the Saints at the left guard position. They re-signed Dylan Reduce as his backup there to provide a veteran player there. They did bring in Jeremiah Wright with the 4th round draft pick to challenge Ruiz at the right guard position. And many people think Torrey Simpkins will be the backup for Eric McCoy, who we still have issues with in terms of his health. So the Saints did bring in some talent, drafting guys, Edwards, then adding Jeremiah Wright in the draft, then through the unofficial draft side of things, getting guys like Alan Heron and Alex Warschlager. These guys are really serious contenders to kind of one of these young tackles they believe will challenge guys like Barry Wesley and others for that opposite position there. So we know the undrafted guys have an opportunity to step in and kind of really kind of step this thing up, man. You know what I mean, fam? To be honest with you, I just think you look at what the Saints going to do from an offensive line standpoint, I just feels like, I just think that it's time for the Saints to kind of move this thing in the right direction from an offensive line standpoint. We've been dealing with that poorish offensive line play and injuries to our team. Not no more. Not no more. We've improved that. You can see the Saints adding unofficial talent there, and those guys that they're adding actually is pretty good, to be honest with you. We'll see how it all works, though. As we transition to the defensive side, you can see they have a 3-4 base defense. Saints usually operate out of 4-2-5. But you can see, we'll see exactly what the Saints have in place, but we know that the pass rushers, the edge guys, are Carl Granderson and Chase Young. Interiorly, you see Brian Bresee and Christian Miller will be inside there. So Brian Bresee, the former 1st round interior line, Christian Miller is the defensive tackle there. You have the depth guys like Divine Gacho and Nate Shepard, Christian Boyd, John Ridgway. Those big guys are there as well to provide the interior effort of it. Then, of course, you see Vernon Brockton. He'll be in the mix for that as well. Depending on how the Saints use, they got a lot of stuff going on. But how do the Saints see Vernon Brockton? When they bring him in, they see him more as an edge guy, but mostly he's an internal guy, but you can, according to what they want to use him for, inside, outside, not a pass rush per se, more of a balance, more of an interior guy, but can set the edge really well. Just a violent person. I think they have big plans for Vernon Brockton. We'll see what that looks like going into the OTAs and where they see him, but bringing in Tyree Wilson, who is an edge rusher, to kind of replace what we've seen, with Cam do, maybe him and Anthony Jennings battling for that position. Chris Rump is there. Michael Hellman, the undrafted guy, maybe fighting in there as well. You see them had that kind of talent. Then from the linebacker perspective, bringing in Caden Ellis to be the leader of the defense there with Pete Werner. And I don't know if it's fair to say that Caden Ellis to be the leader of the defense, but Pete Werner is the guy that had more reps as a starter there. It should be Pete Werner's defense with Caden Ellis coming in to learn from him. But Caden came from here, so we'll see how the principles set. But, maybe this is a year where Pete Werner says, man, I'm tired of people overlooking me. I need to step up, even though he had co-starter reps with Danny Stutzman last year. And they did that to keep Pete Werner healthy, and it actually worked. So Caden Ellis steps in here at the DeMario spot. We'll see if he assumes that leadership role like a DeMario Davis did. We've seen that happen. So, of course, and then you see other things going on with Fadil Diggs, another edge rush guy there. They bring in big guy Miles Coles. We don't know exactly what he can do. We know Chris Rump is in the mix at the edge rusher position for them as well. So then we go secondary, Kool-Aid and Quincy Riley at the corner positions. And then Jordan Howden or Julian Blackman is listed as star role players. Jonas and Justin Reed at the safety spots. But you can see Lorenzo Styles is thrown in at the nickel position as well. The Saints, the introduction of Martin Emerson Jr., the former cornerback from the Browns, kind of pushes Isaac Yiadom down. I think Isaac Yiadom's time with the Saints is coming to an end. I think Emerson, the signing of Emerson, he's a cheaper contract, and Yiadom giving him a 3-year deal like what they gave him. I think that was kind of overkill, and I think Yiadom might be one of those cut candidates, no doubt about it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Divine Gacho, Isaac Yiadom, because it's literally loaded. The internal workings is loaded up, and having those contracts could serve the Saints better monetarily somewhere else, because you got other younger talent there with these two guys, this talent. I know Isaac Yiadom has, I think, 2 years remaining on his contract, but I don't think he makes it out of it. If he doesn't win a third cornerback position, which he's not, if he's a fourth cornerback, I think they're paying too much for him as a fourth cornerback. Not a really good coverage guy. Might be on up out of here, man. Then, of course, you look at the special teams, Charlie Smith. They brought in Mason Shipley. They tried out a punter. Ryan Wright paid him good money to solidify the point in position. Then the Saints went about the business of adding talent to the special teams. They had Barron Brown as a potential kick returner and punt returner for the team. You also have Trey Palmer, who's also in the mix there. We'll see how that ferrets out. The Saints bringing a long snapper as well to compete with Zach Wood. They're looking to not only just rebuild offense and resettle defense, but also remember special teams suffered mightily too. We went through last year to get rid of Blake Grupe, to get him on up out of here. That was a bit of a mixture. The punting situation was musical chairs, had a bunch of Canadian punters that were, having the job, and ultimately Saints say enough of this. They got a veteran who really could boot it from the Minnesota Vikings that really put a lot of hang time under the punt. They bring in Barry and Brown, Lorenzo Styles, and others that can help in the special teams area. So expect more speed, better tackling from the special teams, which means if we can get a couple of touchdowns from special teams, help us set up our explosive, fast and furious offense, things could change radically for the Saints in the second year of the Tyler Shough era. So this is also very interesting to see going forward. But nonetheless, man, this is all I got for y'all on this broadcast. Do me a service, man, by hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Big Q representing the Sports Coma and the entire Who Dat Nation, man. I appreciate y'all for the support. Y'all check out our merch. And share the show. If you hadn't hit the sub button, sub up. If you hadn't hit the notification bell, hit it, and I will take care of the rest. Once again, the mighty Who Dat Nation, man, is moving in a spectacular direction, not putting too much on the team, excited about how they're moving, and just seeing the energy and seeing how this team, how the season could potentially play out. Just loving the additions, loving all of the players they brought in free agency and the draft. And we getting a good look at this is the team that we're taking into the 26-27 season. How do you feel about it? Y'all light the comment section up and let me know how y'all feel about the additions. With that being said, fam, I'm going to get on up out of here, man. I'm going to come back later on. We got a show being set up for the Thursday show of the schedule reveal to see who we are going to be playing. All that fantastic stuff is on the way, baby. With that being said, I'm gonna get on out. Much love, peace, and who that to? This is New Orleans.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the whotdatdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the whotdatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.